Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and today is day 60 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on my writing. So, yay for day 60. I'm very excited about that. I am apparently doing a lot of poetry right now, which I did not think I was going to be doing. I was trying to focus on my stories and my books that I want to get published. But it's Christmas time, and I have gifts I need to give to friends and family. And so I got a card in the mail today from my park friend, and I thought it was really sweet. I wasn't expecting a card from her. And I had something else planned to give her for Christmas, which I will still do. But I was out working tonight, and her name just kept popping into my head. And I was thinking about doing one of those name poems I've been talking about that I did with my kids and stuff. And I can't remember her full name. And I could have asked her what it was, and I didn't ask her tonight. And I was like, well, if I want to write something about her, then I have to figure out something else. So I did. I attempted to do one of those like rhyming poems where like the first and fourth line rhyme and the middle two rhyme, or the first two and the third and fourth rhyme. And I kind of went back and forth on that. I'm not sure it was in any kind of cohesive order, but I came up with a poem. It ended up being like 2 pages long because I put a space in between each whatever. Um, and I didn't make it like interesting colors. I just did a pretty font or something with it. So it would be a little bit fun and different, but not colorful like some of my other ones that I have done recently. And then I sent an email to my friend with that poem attached for her Christmas present. I'm just gonna have to send her a text message to make sure she checks her email to get it. But anyway, it was kind of an interesting experiment for me to try to figure out how to rhyme words or how to rephrase sentences so that the rhyming words end at the end instead of the beginning of sentences. So it's kind of, I guess, fun little writing challenges that I'm creating for myself, or that God is creating for me, because He's putting these ideas into my head. And but then He's also giving me ways to fulfill the ideas that are put into my head. So I know that's how it works. If something God wants you to do, He will help you to do it. Just have to be willing to ask and willing to listen for the answers. So I had a little bit of fun doing that. Cried a little bit too, thinking how sweet my friend is that I could do that for her. And thinking, okay, if I keep doing this for all of my friends, I would really like to get back to writing my stories. I think it's just because I was looking for something short, fast, and easy. And I don't really think that it's fast and easy to do these poems, because seriously, I probably spent like half an hour, maybe 45 minutes working on that poem. It was like a page and a half, because I'm trying to think of the words and the rhyming and the everything else. And I'm like, yeah, so much for going to bed earlier, because it's already really, really late. And so much for doing like a short 5-minute video, because I'm pretty sure this is already past that too. So that was the whole point of doing the poem instead of working on one of my books. And I'm like, I could have spent 15, 20 minutes typing up a paragraph or two like I did, was it last night? So obviously I didn't do that tonight. I just felt like I needed to write a poem for my friend because I've been thinking about her, and I hope that she appreciates it. And I want to type up the email and to send it to her, and I was trying to be like, oh, I'm sorry, it's so cheesy, and like making apologies and excuses for it. I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop. But I did just write it, like I titled the poem My Dearest Friend, and I wrote it like to a friend. So like, and it could probably apply to multiple of my friends and not just that particular friend. I was just had her in mind when I was writing it. But it is one of those ones that, because I didn't use a name or anything specific, it could be universal, or it could be shared with other people if I wanted to publish it or something. Not that I will ever do that. I don't know. Just random ideas. But I had an interesting experience this evening. One of my customers for work, and I was talking to them about my writing and about my YouTube videos and things like that. And that person said that they were going to subscribe to my channel. So I'm like, I may have a new subscriber. I don't know. Don't know if they will. Don't know if they won't. That person's going to start doing their own channel, so I'm really bad at names. I already forgot that person's name. So watching this video and they want me to like subscribe to their channel, they're going to have to remind me in the little comments or something. That would be nice. Otherwise, I will probably forget. Terribly sorry. Not intentional. Just that's how my brain does not work. Anyway, I really appreciated this particular person pointing out to me that I'm a really good storyteller, and I hadn't thought of myself as a storyteller. And this person asked how I became such a good storyteller and because I guess that person felt like I was they were enthralled with what I was saying in the conversation, and I was just prattling on and rambling, kind of like I do in these videos. And I was like, I'm a storyteller? Like, I've heard other people tell stories, and I hadn't really thought of myself as a storyteller. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, I guess I grew up, I had like younger brothers and sisters, and I used to make up stories to tell them. I loved creative writing in elementary school. That was like the favorite thing that I had. I loved playing, not necessarily dress up, but imaginations, like taking fabrics and stuff that my biological mom had and wrapping them around and using them as like robes or aprons or other such things, and creating like scenarios of like I don't know, being princesses or princes for my brothers, not for me, or sword fighting, fencing, or riding horses, like just pretending, make believe, and creating all of these wild stories that we would enact. And we even did that when we were doing chores. We would like pretend that there was some taskmaster, or that we had a certain amount of time until someone came back and we had to hide all the evidence, or something. We would turn it into games and fun, which you can only do when my biological dad wasn't around, because when he was around, he didn't think you could have fun and still get work done. So, which it occurred to me might be one of the reasons why I don't particularly like cleaning, because I can't make it, well, I can make it fun, and I used to make it fun, but I used to get in trouble for making it fun. And if it wasn't fun, I didn't want to do it. And I also got in trouble for not doing it right or not doing it fast enough. So I may have some trauma issues around cleaning, which may be why I like things to be clean. I just don't like to clean things myself. I don't know. That's something I probably need to do a little more journaling and 12-step work on or around. That's not something necessarily to resolve in a video, but these are the random things that run through my head. But I was telling this person that I talk about stuff that I'm passionate about. I talk about things that I'm doing in my life. I talk about the gifts and things that God has given me, and the changes that I have been making and that I've seen in myself as I've been doing my YouTube videos, as I've been doing my gratitude videos. And there's something about sharing your own personal experiences that I think reaches people more than if you're just reading a script. And I told him, I said, I don't write a script to do for my videos, because if I did, I would be very monotone. I'm not very animated. I don't have the little intonations in my voice when I do read stuff. I mean, occasionally I might for some of the things that I do, like for my talks and stuff, but, or maybe my poems. I did my poem when I did the one for my name. But a lot of times I have a really hard time if I script something out to try to either I don't stick to the script because I have a basic idea as to what it is and I just kind of go off script because I know what I'm talking about, or if I try to stick to a script, especially if someone else writes it and I'm reading it and it's not something about me or for me, and then it's just I'm very monotone. I'm not very good at all of the intonations and inflections of the voice and all of that stuff, reading out loud for things. At least I don't feel like I'm very good at that sort of a thing. So to me, I just say what's in my mind. I just say what's going on. And this person was very impressed that I could just do stuff like off the cuff. And I was telling him about my poem, the Merry Christmas poem that I did in my video a few days ago, and how excited I was about that. And I realized after that person left that I have made like this huge leap of progress that I just really wanted to share in this video. And I'm just so very grateful for, and I just, said a little prayer and thanked God for helping me to see myself completely differently. Because when this person said that I was a storyteller, I was like, I'm a storyteller? I can tell stories? Like, I I actually, instead of saying, oh, I'm not a storyteller, I'm not very good at it, and that's like the old me that would be like, oh no, you're like crazy trying to think that I'm good at something that I'm really not good at, or oh, thanks, I totally have you fooled or something, and you have no idea like the real me or whatever. Like all of those negative things. And tonight I was like, oh, I'm a storyteller. Cool. I have another talent I didn't realize I had. And then I started thinking about it and talking to this person out loud and realizing, I've had lots of people like in my meetings or after I give talks tell me how amazing that talk is. And I've realized a lot of times that when I say things, if I actually pay attention to what I'm saying, I'm pretty sure it's, the Spirit speaking through me or God speaking through me, because I'll hear something I've said, I'm like, oh, I need to remember that. I need to learn from that, because I need it as much as the other people that are listening to me need it. And I think that I'm just like a mouthpiece oftentimes for God to speak through me, to reach other people, to share my experiences, to let other people know that they're not alone. And somehow I think I have this gift. And I don't feel like I'm cocky or whatever about it or conceited. It's something that I'm coming to accept, that I have a gift or I have an ability to reach people with my words. And not always, and maybe not everyone, but I've had a lot of people comment to me on how something I said just really resonated with them, or it really helped them, and they're so grateful that I was sharing that, and they thanked me so much for sharing something that personal. And it's just really interesting to have people say that, and I'm just like, I didn't say anything profound, I didn't say anything interesting, I'm not that amazing. And I have my one 12-step friend, I love her to pieces, but I will talk to her on the phone, and then she'll be like, oh wait, repeat what you're going to say, I have to write it down. And I was like, why are you always writing down what I'm saying? It's not that good. But then sometimes I have to stop and think, what did I just say? And I'm like, oh wait, I needed to hear that. I needed to be reminded of that myself. So I learn from the things that I say as much as other people do. So I know that it's not coming from me. I know it's coming from God, and I get to share that with other people. And I think that the Spirit transfers it to people that need it. And it's a way for me to use a gift that God has given me, the gift of speech, one that I'm not comfortable with, one that I don't feel like I'm the best at. But tonight I was given the compliment that I'm a storyteller, and instead of denying that, instead of like saying other people, I did say that I think other people are better at telling stories than I am, but I thought about it and I realized that, maybe there is some truth to what that person was saying. Maybe I do have some talent in telling stories. And I was really grateful and really kind of humbled and amazed at the changes that have happened in me, that instead of balking at what someone else is saying and thinking that I'm not good enough, I was like, oh, maybe I do have this gift. I do have this talent. And, part of my writing is my struggle to, maybe not necessarily struggle, but maybe just learning how to take the ideas and the stories that I create in my head that I've been creating for years, and figuring out how to share them, not just verbally, but to write them down, and to figure out how to get my written words to be as meaningful or enticing to people that read my words as people that are engaged in listening to the stories that I tell and that I choose to share. Because I can start talking about my stories and people are like, oh, that sounds so interesting. Oh, I want to read about that. And then I wonder if what I'm writing is as interesting as what I'm saying. And I don't always feel like what I'm saying is it's interesting and exciting to me. And I think it's because I get animated about stuff I'm excited about that people are like, oh, that's really cool. But I don't really know. But I was just really grateful to have someone point out a different talent to me, and to see my reaction was different, instead of degrading myself as someone else, or thinking in my head that I'm not as good as this person is saying. I was like, hey, maybe that is another talent that I have. Maybe I do have another gift. Maybe that is something that I'm using, that I'm doing with my videos. Maybe that's why my videos are as long as they are, as animated and crazy as they are. I don't know. So, but, and then not only that, but I was bold enough to tell this person that if they're interested or they liked our conversation, that, they could go to my YouTube channel for Midge Shoemaker and check it out. And that's when they said, I'm like, okay, well, now I'm a new subscriber to your channel. And I'm like, cool, I have a new subscriber to my channel. Because we had a dynamic conversation, because I was able to share what I'm doing and talking about in my videos. And I wasn't nervous about it. I'm not worried about the content that I've put out there. And I remember when I first started making these videos, like I was so glad, like I was freaked out just making a video looking at myself. And then I was nervous and worried about who's going to watch these and what people are going to think. And tonight I wasn't worried about what this person was thinking. I was just talking about what I'm doing with my life and sharing my stuff. And I'm like, and if you like it, I'm like, hey, check out my videos, go for it. and to be able to to do that in person and to just be like, hey, here it is, and to realize that I was perfectly okay with that is like it feels like a complete 180, like completely different from how I felt when I first started doing my videos. So it's kind of almost making me looking forward to doing 100 days of marketing and going through and making thumbnails for my videos so that they'll stand out, so that more people will notice them and start watching them, because I'm becoming more confident in myself and in my abilities. And I don't think I hope I'm not becoming cocky or conceited about it, but I feel like I'm becoming comfortable with myself and comfortable with my abilities, and appreciative of other people that notice that and that point things out to me, especially things that I don't notice about myself. And I'm grateful that I can be like, okay, whether that's a positive or negative comment, or whether I feel like it's a positive or negative comment, I'm like, okay, I can look at that and I can say, is there some truth to that? I'm like, okay, and if it's something I can work on to change, I can work on to change it. I'll add that to my list of things to change anyway. Or I could be like, oh my gosh, I have another talent like storytelling. I'm like, okay. And it's so cool because I was able to just accept the compliment. I was able to say thank you. I was able to talk about it with this person and to realize like, hey, I have another ability that I hadn't been looking at or thinking at. Or maybe it's something at one point in my life that I was like wishing I didn't have, or wish people would stop saying that to me, because I just didn't want to be helping other people when I was hurting and I wanted to help myself. And I was like, it's so not fair. And now I'm so grateful for it. So it's just, it's amazing how my focus on gratitude and writing and learning about myself is changing my perspective about myself and how I view myself, and that I can accept compliments now. And I used to be so uncomfortable with that idea. And not only did I accept a compliment, I was like, oh, yeah, well, I think this is maybe how I became a storyteller. I wish I could be more helpful. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even realize it was a talent I had, but thank you. And like, hey, if you like my stories, then check out my videos. like I've never been comfortable just like, and I know selling myself is not the right word for that, because it always makes it sound like it's a prostitute. That's what I always think in my head. That's not necessarily what it means. But I mean, we always have to promote like going for a job interview or something else. You always have to promote your good qualities to prove that you're better than someone else, or that you deserve the job, or whatever it is. So you always put your best foot forward. You go on dates and stuff, and you always show your best side. There's that best side of things. And salespeople are really good at like doing that and convincing people to buy stuff, and they're very dynamic about it. And I'm like, I've never been a good salesperson. I hate doing sales. I'm not comfortable promoting myself because I haven't been confident and comfortable in myself. And I didn't spark up that conversation with this person or start talking about it because I was trying to promote myself or promote my videos. It's just that's where the conversation went, because I piqued this person's interest in what I was talking about. And the more questions the person asked, the more detailed I got with my answers as to what I'm doing and things like that. And so it was a good conversation for me, I think. I hope it was good for that person too. But it helped me to see the growth that I've had and the changes that I'm making. And I think oftentimes we see our growth or changes, other people see it first and they point it out to us. And I'm grateful that I was able to accept the compliment and to see the change instead of like thinking that person is like crazy, like you have no idea what you're talking about. Because I know there have been so many times in my life when I've thought that people have said nice things about me or told me I was good at something, and I was like, yeah, I'm not that good. And I always downplayed it. And tonight I didn't. Tonight I just accepted it. And I was like, oh, hey, maybe this is kind of cool. Maybe I can do this. This is fun. So I was just really, really grateful for that. And I just really wanted to share that. And then when I was sending the poem to my friend, I was starting to like think of all those negative things like, oh, it's not good enough, or I could have done better, because she's such an amazing person in my life. She's had such an impact on my life that my little poem just seems inadequate in comparison to all of her character traits or whatever. But then I was like, you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a list of everything. It's just a list of, I mean, it wasn't even a list. It was just a random poem. I was thinking about doing a list of, instead of 10 things, because there's that movie like 10 Things I Hate About You. I was thinking about doing a list of like 10 things I love about you or something like that. And that's what I initially thought I was going to do when I sat down to write. And then it did not come out like that at all. So, which is okay. I'm sure there was a reason it came out the way that it did. And maybe that's the way that God intended it to be. And maybe I'll write something tomorrow about 10 things I love about her, or 10 things I love about someone else, or 10 things I love about myself, maybe just for fun. Because I think it's good to remember the positive things, the good things that I'm doing in my life, the good things that I have about myself, instead of the negative things, because it's always easy to be my own worst critic, but sometimes it's hard to be my own cheerleader. And so I'm grateful for all the cheerleaders in my life, and I'm grateful for the people that I know and for the random people that point out good things that I'm doing or talents that I have. And I'm grateful that tonight I could accept those talents and say, hey, I do have that. Hey, that's a cool thing about me. Hey, that is so new that I'm willing to do that. So I thought it was exciting and I wanted to share. And I'm grateful that I can share the progress that I'm making and the things that I'm learning in these videos. And I hope that it's helpful to other people that are watching. And if you like, you can hit like or subscribe, and you can share to someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I think that's all I have for you. So have a great day. I hope you have a great day full of gratitude, and maybe do a little bit of writing.